to our podcast called AI Unplugged Without Borders. Today's session outlines the progress and opportunities around artificial intelligence, implementation, and research. The federated structure of Germany creates its challenges, but the sum of many individual programs are ahead in all of Europe, in my humble opinion. How does any transform a region like North Rhine-Westphalia, or in short NRW, from the very historical coal to artificial intelligence? So last month, I teamed up with my friend Nestor from Stanford HAI, the Human Center for Artificial Intelligence, to speak at numerous events in Germany about the AI Index report. I used this opportunity to speak at events in my German home state called North Rhine-Westphalia, as I mentioned before, in short, NRW. Now, cities from that region that you may know of are something like Düsseldorf and Cologne, Aachen, Bochum, Dortmund, and even Jülich, and many others. I was happy to be able to spend some time with one of the leading AI experts in that region. His name is Dr. Christian Temath. Christian has been managing director of the competence platform KI.NRW, which translates into Artificial Intelligence, North Rhine-Westphalia, since September 2020. KI.NRW is the central contact point for artificial intelligence in North Rhine-Westphalia. At the well-known Fraunhofer IAIS in St. Augustine, he and his team are working on establishing the called AI Made in NRW brand and strengthening the technological leadership of North Rhine-Westphalia. A PhD in business informatics. He has many years of experience in management consulting in the field of technology, as well as in the practical application of AI technologies at an international e-commerce company. He is also a super nice person to collaborate with. I am your host, Thomas Neubert. I'm born and raised in Germany in this particular state. I have been here in beautiful Silicon Valley for 33 years, and I'm very much looking forward to the conversation now at home in my hometown in Germany with Christian. So let's go to it. Thank you very much for listening. Hello, everybody. This is Thomas Neubert again, Transatlantic AI Exchange podcast. And we are here at a new facility in Düsseldorf, of all places, in North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany. It's called the K67. And I'm here with my friend Christian. We just actually spent a few days together last week at the Rise of AI in Hamburg. Welcome. Thank you very much for taking the time to join our podcast. We would love to talk about, obviously, artificial intelligence. I personally would love to talk about what is happening in Germany, what is happening in NRW, which stands for North Rhine-Westphalia. It's the biggest state in Germany. And with that, maybe a quick introduction about yourself, what you do. And I know you have a double role with Fraunhofer and KI North Rhine-Westphalia. Tell the audience what you do and who you are, please.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas, for having me. I'm very excited, chatting again with you about AI and especially about also the transatlantic components that are in there. So my role is basically I'm leading the central competence platform in North Rhine-Westphalia, KI NRW, where we basically want to drive the application of AI from research into really the companies, the corporates, Therefore, we really drive into how can we help, especially small and medium enterprises, to get their AI journey going. And in that sense, we are basically located at the Fraunhofer IAIS, which is one of the largest research institutions for applied AI in Europe, which basically helps us to really think, okay, what's happening in research, but also how can we drive the application? And that's basically very fantastic for me.
And Fraunhofer is obviously a global brand. Almost everybody knows it, the H.264 codec, MP3, MP4, whatever. But where are you sitting? Because they're all over the place, right? All over Germany?
Yes. So there's more than 70 institutes across Germany. I'm located close to Bonn in St. Augustine. And the official name is the Fraunhofer IAIS, which stands for Intelligent Analytic and Information Systems.
Okay.
This where basically work with my team on driving AI forward in North Australia.
So maybe let's break this down for a few minutes about your activities with the Fraunhofer, if it relates to AI, which I assume to some extent it is. And then also tell us and tell the readers, the listeners, a little bit about the KI Nordrhein-Westfalen initiative and how that fits into the bigger KI initiatives in Germany, which I have to say is pretty massively impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically, the majority of my time I actually spent on KI NRW. But the good news is I have basically two hats on my head, which is that I'm having the opportunity to really drive from a state perspective this topic forward, but at the same time have like 3 doors to go to the researchers and ask them what's happening in your field. How can we maybe build some kind of demonstration tool together so that we can showcase how AI is actually working and helping people. And that's where I basically try to really get into very close interactions, personal interactions, and actually find out what is the real use case, what's the real benefits that you can really bring with your technology.
Okay. And when you say research, I know Fraunhofer Institute is research, but I assume that KI Nordrhein-Westfalen is not just research, right? I mean, what about Mittelstand? What about startup incubation, things like that?
So basically, this is why I said 2 hats. So basically, the people I work with at the Institute are researchers by heart, applied research. We have a strong focus and also mandated to really go to the corporates, have workshops with them, identify use cases, and really drive the application of the AI journey forward. So we are, for example, having things like the AI shadowing, where people from my team come to see and visit corporates, and then we basically shadow what they are doing the whole day, and then we come up with like 30, 40 ideas of where AI can actually help their processes, their daily working in making things better. And that is a well-received offering because then they get a feeling, okay, this is where AI could actually help. And then we say, okay, now let's put it all on the table and let's cluster it a bit. Some of those ideas are very expensive to implement or complex and don't bring too much benefit, but sound great. And then we usually come up with like 3 or 5 concrete ideas, and then they have a better idea where to start and where to get it going.
So when you go to these corporations, first of all, are these smaller companies? Are these big corporations? Do they have to pay for it? Is it a free service? How does that program work?
So as we are funded by the state, so basically the state of North Rhine-Westphalia is funding us, all of these offerings are free. That also limits a bit the extent of how much we can do. So basically we can spend a 1-day workshop at a corporation, but we cannot also accompany the implementation of the project. So that's where I get into contact with our Fraunhofer colleagues or other players from the market.
Okay.
Basically, I'm not educating folks like Telekom and Deutsche Post or the Ergos on how to drive AI forward. So it's rather smaller companies, but it could also be larger Mittelstand companies. So we're also in discussion with media, etc. But also they know quite well how to deal with AI by themselves. But there's like Köln Messe where we actually had those discussions and really looking forward to continue these discussions.
So roughly every other month, we have delegations coming to Silicon Valley visiting from Germany. They either the startup batches, obviously, but there's also like 4 to 6 times a year Mittelständler, so to speak, SMBs. Mittelständler stands for SMBs. And it's interesting because on one hand, I have to admit they need help. They really don't know much, and they don't have the internal resources like a Deutsche Telekom and other big ones. But at the same time, when I present to them the bigger picture, most of them then ask the question, this was really, really good. It was really informative. Yes, KI is for real. We need to do something. And then the fundamental question is, so Thomas, what do you suggest? Where do we go to? Where do we get the help? They may not be all from North Rhine-Westphalia. They're all over the place. But let's just assume they are Mittelständler from North Rhine-Westphalia. What do I tell them? I just send them over to you and then you will figure this all out with them? How would that work?
Well, in simple words, yes.
Okay.
You can, whoever has a question on with regards to AI, send them to us. if it is about starting the AI journey, if it's about identifying the first use cases, or just structuring, what are your thoughts? What are your concerns? Do we need a AI kickoff to really get things also like in a mindset and mentally going? We can offer a lot of things. And if we figure out there's a very concrete and specific question, we would relate it to partners in the network and say, okay, there's people in the ecosystem who solved this problem already, or there's people who can give you advice. And then we would basically connect them and help them to make a better decision and foster the discussion.
So when you talk to these SMB companies, first thing is obviously we need to raise the awareness of what KI is and what it can do, right? The second one is to understand their internal processes, to figure out where within the process, on the manufacturing side, on the supply chain side, on the marketing, HR, whatever it is, where they could apply it. And then you look, I guess, at their available data sets and whatever additional data sets you can bring. But who would do the implementation? Is that something you literally offer as a service?
No, we don't do the implementation. So this is why we partner very much, obviously, with our internal colleagues from the Fraunhofer. So they do for companies, they also do projects. So if that's the fit, then we could we are happy to also make a shake hand. But we also discuss with a lot of startup companies, smaller consulting companies, but whoever's in the market, and we bring those folks on our AI landscape, which basically represents all folks that have an AI offering, be it in consultancy, be it in products, be it in whatever there is, but also be it in research. So we could say, see, this is your problem. Somebody in this regard can help you with implementation. We talk to them once or twice. Maybe you should just continue talking and figure it out.
So just for the listeners here right now, the Transatlantic AI Exchange obviously is here. It's an open platform. It's here to help, and we are trying to connect the dots. So if everybody listening here and has some kind of a development background or consulting service for implementing AI into a smaller sized, mid-sized, big-sized company, feel free to send us an email. You can send me personally at thomas@transatlanticaiexchange.com, because we are getting a lot of questions from these companies, and they are from all kind of, from a bakery to a pizza baker to, a supply chain or manufacturing of machines. So we need some leads. These people need some help. I think there's some business opportunities for people who have development expertise in AI. Maybe shifting gears a little bit. You and I just spent last week a day and a half in Berlin at the Rise of AI conference. I was very impressed, I have to say. I was really pleased about the people that I met, the conversations, the applied AI stage, the smaller one. I spent actually 80% there rather than on the big one. Last year it was the opposite. I really liked the topics. I could see a shift towards applied AI and real use cases and things like that. And I think culturally that fits a little bit better also to the German culture and where the opportunities are. But having said that, what was your takeaway? And you are in the middle of all this in Germany. Where do you see the German trends of opportunities? Where do you think there is some drawbacks or opportunities or challenges that needs to be addressed? I personally have a few opinions that I'm going to announce tomorrow on LinkedIn. But I would like to hear your takeaway, because you're in the middle of this whole thing in Germany.
Yeah, so first of all, same for me. So basically last year I spent basically the whole day at the meta stage, and this year I was basically staying the whole day at the applied AI stage. I think what I see personally in the discussions, also with the small and medium enterprise who haven't started, but the question of where actually can AI help and what exactly do I need to do? So let's make it more than a miracle. Let's make it a practical exercise, which actually helps me to improve my business operations. And that, I think, was also the sense of the people in the room who are also implementers, who are researchers, who are policymakers, etc. But thinking, okay, where exactly can we do this and what does it take? And I think there's a lot of great things, not only coming up with Gen AI and all these other things, but also very concrete examples where everything would say, people should know more about it. For example, there is one company who basically control expert now for Phoenix Contact, who basically have a sensor in every square meter in the office building. Yeah, and they basically have the ability to measure temperatures, the lighting, scenery, etc. And they basically use a tool from a startup from Cologne, Edifion, to improve their energy management of their office building and save 15% of energy.
Okay.
And that's running, I think, since 2 or 3 years. And in terms of war in Europe, resource prices increasing, and sustainability discussions, I think that's a very concrete example, not needing any Gen AI, where people can actually save a lot of money.
Yeah.
And because a lot of office buildings actually sensor-driven and automatically steered. A lot of opportunities for other companies. And I think these are the examples which I would like to draw attention on, because it's not a miracle. It's something that actually people work on, have applied successfully, and it doesn't need to make you a personal AI developer, but you can just simply buy it as a service.
Yeah.
And I think that's sweet spots we need to dig out way more often and get this message across. That it's not a miracle. If you just have your eyes open, you can find very nice spots about this.
So you have been in this field now for a while. Obviously, we all have experienced the magical ChatGPT moment a year and a half ago. Where do you see the changes, pros and cons, in the German culture or in Germany overall against or towards in support of künstliche Intelligenz, artificial intelligence?
So what we were basically experiencing, you were asking, can you send over people to us? Yes, you can. That was true like 2.5, 3 years ago.
Okay.
Still, and in October 2022, I was like, is now the next wave of decreasing interest in AI coming? What's happening next, etc. And a lot of discussions we were spending with people who were actually very much into the technology, head of AIs,
insiders, experts,
experts.
Yeah.
And they were asking, so what is the cool stuff that you guys have on the shelf? And I was going my 3 doors to the research and saying, that where's the cool stuff?
Okay.
And in 2023, we basically got invites from radio stations asking us for interviews. We got calls from CEOs, from people from the general public saying, "Okay, what's about it? What's the buzz? Why should we talk about it?" I heard it could be a complete shift of my business ecosystem, so you need to tell me. So there was, on the one hand side, a lot of interest. Getting into, this is fantastic here, Gen AI, and we can now do pictures with just prompting it, and we can now do some text summaries, and we didn't even teach the system to do so. But also the clear concern, okay, what does it make with my business model? What does it do with my employees? And is it somehow dangerous? And there was also a lot of insecurity. And I think we spend a lot of time in educating, just simply educating, saying, okay, AI is not only about Gen AI. It's a way broader topic.
Yeah.
There's many fields of AI where you just don't even need to think about a prompt, where you just can do a lot of forecasting, whatever. You just need to figure out in which ways you want to apply it. And what I personally found a bit tricky is, and this is since years, that a lot of people neglect the effect of having good quality data to actually make their AI endeavor successful.
Yeah.
And a lot of people slowly get to the point that just simply having ChatGPT is not solving a business problem in their company. But it takes some time for more education, because if you have bad quality data, it takes you some time to make it good and available.
So I have to say your response is actually very encouraging, because I would have guessed in typical German fashion, everything is, doomsday and it's all bad no matter what. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So people are getting more educated about the pros of it. I mean, yes, there is concern in Privacy and AI Act. It's all important. I don't want to downplay that. But normally what I have experienced in the past is we're always talking about way too much about the doomsday rather than the opportunities. But that seems to be now switching over to, let's look at the opportunities. People are coming and they are proactive. Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement. With a nice anecdote, I was actually having a TV presence in a show for kids where we basically explained how AI is working and how an AI is generating pictures.
Okay.
And then we basically, it was on air, and after it was aired, we had a chat session, and it was basically the expert in the chat. And a lot of these young folks, and max age was, if nobody was playing the system, was 14 years. And basically the idea was that they could ask me questions. And a lot of questions were about, is AI bad?
Yeah.
And it was not asking the question that people were concerned. It was rather a real interest. Is it bad? And what can we do about that it is not going to get bad? And I think this is an underlying concern that technology that seems to have tremendous capabilities.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand it well enough how it really works, that we need to have way more education to say, this is not the doomsday time. It is about making the right decisions to controlling the use of AI, but it's not about shutting it down.
Yes, thanks for pointing that out. Because there's always the case where what is good and what is bad, who defines it, right? Everything that is good can also be used as bad, like a weapon. Yeah. Or, I mean, let's face it, electricity can be good, is good, can be bad, can kill you. The internet is good and bad. I mean, it's just this give and take. And I have to say, the media, I challenge the media once in a while that they need to do a better job in being more either neutral or less negative, and allow us, the experts, to go on air, to go on whatever the venue is, social media, and help educating the wider public, and then hopefully the adoption will come. Again, ChatGPT was a magic moment. I think when we met the first time 2 years ago at Rise of AI, for example, this was before ChatGPT. It was a completely different dynamic, right? You go in a room, you're trying to, evangelize and everything, and now it's almost the opposite. Everybody believes they are an AI expert in the first place. That also, is up for discussion, but it's actually progress that we have seen so far. So in Germany, and I want to send this message also to other countries outside Germany, because there's something happening in Germany that I have to say I'm really impressed about. And that is this, I don't know who did it, and you may have been involved in the past, but you guys were creative enough as a whole in the country statewide to just pick a month, which is May. I'm not sure if it's the best month based on all the vacation days, right, or holidays. But anyway, what Germany did for the last couple of years is they just called officially May. The May of months is the May of artificial intelligence. And Rise of AI is one event. Now, you and I sitting here, we have an event tonight. Nestor is here from Stanford. Hey, the human research of artificial intelligence, and we are talking about the AI index. Tomorrow is another event. So there's a lot of events going on. Can you explain a little bit what this KI Monat Mai is? Because I want to send that example, that message to other European countries who are slightly behind the activities of what I have seen in Germany.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So the KI Monat Mai, I agree. With all the public holidays we have here in Germany, it's maybe not the best month for organizing events.
Yeah.
But basically, when the whole idea up, I think I've been involved in German-wide discussions how we could bring together the different ecosystems, Berlin, Hamburg, Bavaria, like Munich, but also like Baden-Württemberg. And then I think at some point in time I was discussing with Fabian on the Rise of AI and saying, okay, how could we now also bring some more energy, some more momentum into the whole movement in Germany,
nationwide,
yeah. And then we really came up, okay, let's drive this as an ecosystem play. Yeah, so we've been responsible for the western part of Germany now since the setup of this KI Monat Mai, and we were really trying to engage and encourage people to participate. Yeah, it not necessarily needed to have a new event, but just to think about, okay, how can we make all these what's happening visible? Yeah, and I think the one of those years you were just traveling around, because it was a bit orchestrated between the regions, not only to showcase in the region there's something happening, but also to give the others the opportunity to say, okay, in Hamburg, there's also very fantastic things going on, and also to exchange. And I think that is what is, I think, one of the key components which I personally, as a leader of one of those region women's platforms, see is we need to collaborate even more. Yeah, because there's so many things that are true in Bavaria, that are true in Hamburg, that are true in Berlin, but don't need to be reinvented 3 times.
Yeah.
And I think there we can do a better job, because yes, it needs regional ecosystems to get things growing. But for certain discussions, I think we should be even closer aligned. KI Monat Mai is obviously one of those initiatives that's driving this forward, this collaboration piece.
I have to say congratulations. I think it's brilliant. There's still this typical, regional thinking, but in general, I think it's absolutely brilliant. I have not seen it anywhere else, literally not in Europe and also not in the United States. Maybe shifting gears for a second, you had the honor to travel with the state governor of North Rhine-Westphalia to Silicon Valley, the West Coast. I don't know where else you went. What was the objective? What was the takeaway? What was your personal takeaway after you spent, what was it, like a week or 2 weeks or something?
It was just a week.
Just a week, okay. What was your impressions and takeaway?
So it was a very intense 1 week. So the overall purpose of the travel was not only focused on AI, so it was also bringing attention that North Rhine-Westphalia has a very, very diverse economic background. We are very strong in media, but we're also very strong when it goes to machinery building, etc. And so there has been some of those visits of the governor where it was basically very much about, okay, where is the media thriving? What can we do and collaborate in terms of these other discussions? First, a lot of these areas, obviously media, have a very, very strong relation nowadays with AI. So I was easily getting into conversations, people asking me, okay, how can I improve making my films, etc. So you could see that as a technology which is to be applied in many different ways of life and industries, there's always a point where you can relate. The purpose for the AI visits was, I think, very much around we are a strong place in Europe for AI. We have, at the same time, the challenge of transforming our industry from coal to AI. We have a lot of people who still work in coal and mining industry, and this basically ending. And this basically is a slogan that the governor is saying. So from coal to AI, we have this big Microsoft investments coming to the Rheinische Revier, very close to where I work. And the question is, okay, how can we now bring ourselves not only on the map, but also think about ways of collaboration? And I think that was one of the purposes to discuss with Microsoft, with Google, with OpenAI, where is ways of bringing those folks also over to Europe, to Germany, to North Rhine-Westphalia, because not every American company is bad when it comes to technological sovereignty. We can talk about this also.
Yes.
But a 3 billion investment is a 3 billion investment. So, and that helps me develop my AI ecosystem further. And in that regard, we were thinking about, okay, where are these connection points? And I think one of the things I usually observe is if you see the money, if you see also the mindset of those people, I'm pretty convinced if we just want to exactly copy what they do, Microsoft with OpenAI, etc., that's for me not the right decision.
I would agree.
In Germany,
I think the last 12 months have shown it already with just the topics of large language models.
So what I think what we could be doing is still, and I think Peter Salin was making it perfectly right at Rise of AI, there's tons of problems, and the majority of problems which cannot be solved by one of those basic fundamentals. It needs thinking, it needs domain knowledge. And domain knowledge, we are very strong now because we have industry across the field in all dimensions. And there we have smart people. Then we will have technology from the US, and we will bring this together, and then we will solve problems here in Germany, and we will solve problems in the US with that. And maybe in Canada, and in France, and in England, etc. I think that is, for me, the driving force to say, okay, you bring in what you guys can do great. We bring in what we can do great. And then we have a better solution. And then we can make our industry more sustainable. We can make it maybe climate neutral. We can make this whole mobility discussion to electrical vehicles run, etc., etc. So, and this is where I only see chances. And and all these other questions like, will they outplay us? Yeah, we had these discussions with the internet, we had this with the cloud services, etc. Yeah, still we're up and running, still we are earning money. And I think it's if we frame it right, and I think at the end it's us to frame it right. I think there's a lot of opportunities.
So maybe one last topic I want to tackle quickly. You mentioned research a lot, and obviously we have activities with these new incubators, Merantix and AI Campus and in Heilbronn and what have you. That's all early stage entrepreneurial startup stuff. And looking at the research institutions and our very well-established university programs, right? Where would you recommend a young person today in Germany studying computer science or going into AI? What areas do you believe in the next 5 to 10 years Germany will be actually very strong and maybe even taking a global leadership?
That's a good one because it involves the magic ball guessing.
You have to start somewhere, right? Yeah. I wouldn't throw out large language models just to give you an extreme.
Yeah, I was assuming that. So personally, we are doing a lot of great things when it comes to resource-constrained machine learning, when it goes to like really having smart algorithms which you can apply on the edge. Also in collaboration with the corresponding hardware, where we have, for example, the new this cluster in Aachen, where they're basically developing neuromorphic chips, and which are way more like a reduced energy consumption for AI applications. So bring this together. That could be, if there's invests and if people believe in it, I think that could be fantastic and tremendously interesting field, because it's just a lot of people don't want to make cloud calls all the time, but they want to have all these in a car. They want to run it in a car.
On the edge.
On the edge. So I think that could be great. So this would be then, for example, the Lamar Institute with University of Dortmund and Bonn, but also here Aachen University. What I personally find a very exciting place is the EPI campus in Heilbronn.
Yes, I agree.
Because there is one of those ingredients which is often missing in Germany. It's a clear commitment also from private investment sides to make something work. And we were mentioning Rise of AI. So I was talking basically to Frauke, who is running the EPI applied AI part. And she said, now we are building those buildings. But now imagine in 1 or 2 years, there is these buildings, and at some point in time, there's 5,000 people, 10,000 people. And then you have one of those real regional hubs where people come and play, and there's bigger corporates getting their stuff going. And this is, for me, a very exciting example where I would personally, even if it's not North Rhine-Westphalia, wish them all of the best and luck. Because if this is flying and if this is kicking off, then maybe that might inspire some other folks, and maybe some other folks here in Cologne, Düsseldorf, wherever, to do something similar.
I agree with that. And if I can maybe also talk in behalf of the North Rhine-Westphalia state, which, by the way, is my home state. I was born and raised here, an hour plus away. But I agree with you. If you look at Bavaria with Unternehmertum and that relationship, how it all worked out quite nicely. And then I was invited to Heilbronn like 2 years ago. And it was more a vision than anything else. And the momentum in 2 years, right? It is unbelievable. The region, an underdeveloped region, meets funding from the government, meets huge investments from private investors, in this case, the Schwarz family. And then you look at North Rhine-Westphalia and you have a ton of industries here in Düsseldorf, Cologne, Bonn, Essen, Aachen, wherever. We need something like that in our states to step up, willing to take a risk and build something like this. And I believe in 5 to 10 years, if we look back of what that underdeveloped, not in a negative way, region of Heilbronn is going to pull off, it will be phenomenal. And we should find something here in North Rhine-Westphalia as well.
Yeah.
Let's leave it with that. Thank you very much, as always.
Thanks, Thomas.
Appreciate the interview. And anybody who is listening who has any feedback, just send me a note. Again, we are here in beautiful Düsseldorf. It is a wonderful area here to start a business. If anybody here from the United States wants to consider to come to Europe, there are many choices, but I would say one choice actually that you should consider is Germany within the EU and North Rhine-Westphalia within the German area as well. So with that, everybody, thank you very much.